welcome to session 20 of Fables from the Pickled Quipper. Gosh, what happened last time? Let's have a quick review. So you wake up in the Traveller's Respite, and then are summoned to see Captain Alescu of the Nagra. He brings you into his little office. He thanks you for your assistance with the Chimera and other deeds that have been done so far for the city, and presents the party with an Ethereal, Delzimer version of a deed. Unfortunately, he gives you the deed to the currently ruined Pickled Quipper. Well, and in fact, he doesn't even give it to you because he doesn't know what to call you, and he for sure is not going to write out 5 names every time on the paperwork, and provided some compensation in the form of 2 purses, one filled with nothing and one filled with platinum. From there, you went to speak to Ingfrin, who has got to work on the Chimera, is excited to have a Chimera in his workshop. Literally broke the wall to facilitate its entry. You went to the 2 halves, picked up various sundries, spoke to Semlin, the smith, and you spoke to Gerald, the unfortunate guard, who had been returned from the cave system, rather worse for wear, and described some of the creatures that he encountered there, some of which sounded familiar and some of which did not. That is where we left it.
My hope was to go find somebody maybe who would have elven bows to sell or make.
Yeah, there's a shop on the northwest side of town. So, yeah. Heading towards the shop then? Is that the plan?
To the shop.
You just gonna walk there and hope, or what's your plan?
Yes, I'm just going to walk there and hope.
Make a perception check for me then.
Hey, 5.
Starting off real strong tonight.
I walk into the wall. Yeah, 5. That's a natural 1.
Like, you get over to the vague area of town. It takes a little while to walk across. And then you kind of look around. You look around some more. And it's getting towards lunchtime and you still haven't found anything.
I guess after probably after a little while, I would just give up and ask somebody.
Okay.
I don't want to troop everybody around town for, 6 hours. Oh dear.
Okay. There's a variety of people around.
I ask the most elven looking, which is probably going to be a gnome with that perception check.
Elves stick out. There's not a lot of them in town. You see someone who's probably a half elf.
I hail them
Yes.
with a friendly wave, and I just say, "Sorry, I'm new in town, and I was told I was looking for Elmas. Do you know where they reside?"
Yes. You need the fickle quiver.
Hang on. What did you say?
The fickle quiver.
The Fickle Quiver. It's a very unique name.
Yes. Just keep going down here about another 5 minutes or so. You'll see a tall building with a crooked spire. Take a right, and you'll see the sign once you turn there.
I guess we make off in that direction then.
Oh, yeah, you walk along a little bit, and eventually you come to the building with the crooked spire. Take a right, and sure enough, you can see a rather humble-looking building on a quieter street. There is a sign just gently swinging in a gentle breeze that says the Fickle Quiver.
In we go.
It does have a slightly other feel to it inside. Looking around, the wall to the left appears to be where short bows are kept. There's long bows on the right, and then in front of the counter, if you will, there's large quantities of arrows in various different stocks. And yeah, behind the counter, you see a tall, slender elf, copper skin, um, very dark hair, and hazel-colored eyes. And they look up and just smile at you as you enter.
Is this a wood elf? Would I know?
You would suspect, yes, a wood elf.
Give a gentle elf greeting of hello.
You're
uh,
returned with a soft
She'll know what it means.
smile and
yeah,
nod.
it's cryptic, but
A soft sort of smile and nod. And I will say, you feel very very comforted in this space. It's there's very sort of earthy, woodsy feel in the heart of the city. Not exactly sure how or why, but it's definitely very calming for you.
I kind of get lost in it for a moment. But as I'm looking around, I notice Claire, and that just manages to jog me back to reality. And I shall wander up to the counter and say, "Hey, this may not come as a surprise, but I'm looking for a longbow, and I want something not just not just made for utility, but something with a little artfulness to it. Do you think you have anything of that nature?"
Let's take a look and see if we can find something for you. I'm Almus, by the way.
Eska,
Well met, Esk.
well met.
So, and they sort of glide very gently over to the longbow section. And you can see that they're dressed in very practical, muted tones. You do see sort of essentially kind of like a utility belt being worn that houses a number of tools that you could imagine would be used for various different steps of the archery process, as far as working on bows. So there's little like carving tools, things for working on the fletching. Pretty much every stage, there's probably a tool there. But they sort of gently walk over and say, "So, longbows you're looking for? I have a number of opportunities for you. I mean, of course, I have a sort of standard longbows. I find this difficult because I am a modest person at heart, but that's not very good for business. So, any of my longbows are probably as good, if not better, than anything you'll find here in Delzimer. So a standard longbow here will set you back about 60 gold pieces. The bows are all carefully constructed from specific trees who have volunteered their limbs to be turned into bows. It is a very careful process. I work hard to make sure that it is a sustainable business that I run. Likewise, the arrows are sustainably harvested, as it were. If you're looking for something a little more special, and they walk over to the two nearest the window. I cannot claim to have created either of these, but when I get word of a special bow passing through town, I try to acquire it. This first one here is the bow of Valanthe. She kind of looks at you, notices no response to the name, and just says, suppose you must not be from around here.
No, I'm from quite a ways north.
Well, all of our people around here, regardless of our heritage, shall we say. Any elf around here would know. Valanthe was a famous warrior. During the Spell Plague, Valanthe defeated a Amarylith of Grast, one of the great demon lords. Single-handedly, in fact. When the creature was far enough away, this is the bow that was used. I believe there also exists a pair of longswords somewhere, though I have not happened upon them. I suppose they would be very impressive. The Amarylith, I believe, is a four-armed creature with each arm wielding a different weapon. So, for one person to be able to withstand a foe as powerful as that, it's very impressive.
I must learn more about local lore. It is good to know what our people have done.
Well, if you plan to stay for a while, yes. But yes, this bow is it is certainly a cut above your average bow. I have not had the opportunity to test this, but legend has it that the bow glows slightly in the presence of demons, and also can grant the wielder the ability to speak a language they may not have spoken before. Really quite a special bow. Now, this other one is known as the Stalker's Gambit, and they kind of eye you up a little bit. Say, I fear this one may be out of your reach for now, but maybe someday.
I'm always curious.
It is incredibly potent, known to deal significant damage, and when you hit with absolute precision, the bow seems to strike the foe even harder. It's a curious thing. I've obviously used it a little myself. It was foolish not to.
Yes.
Here, just hold it for a second. And,
I hold it for a second.
So as you look at it and kind of turn it over in your hand, you see it's made of oak. Where you would grip the bow with your sort of non-drawing hand, there is what looks to be a very delicately carved oak tree symbol. Just holding it, not even trying to wield it, you just feel strong. You feel like your aim would be truer, that your steps would be surer, that your words would be better chosen. Everything about this bow just fills you with comfort.
I sort of hand it back hastily and I say, I must come back for this bow.
Well, saving, I'm afraid. This one is currently available for 7,300 gold pieces.
I am not surprised.
The bow of Valanthe, significantly less. That one is just 850 gold pieces.
They are both magnificent. But I think for now, as you can tell, I'm sort of getting things together right now. So perhaps one of your own crafting would be much appreciated.
You would be very welcome to do so. Do you need any ammunition at this time?
No.
As she says that,
uh,
during all this quiet conversation, Claire knocks over one of the things of arrows and hurriedly, whispering, apologizing, tries to shove them all back in.
And Almus just sort of like very patiently waves a hand and says, No worries, no worries. It's quite all right.
This is Claire, a companion of mine.
Nice to make your acquaintance, Claire.
And I yours.
It is understandable. These things happen. Don't worry at all. I myself have tripped over a few things in my time.
Claire
Oh, sorry.
skeptically. She's looking at her, obviously having seen her walk around the shop. She just kind of raises an eyebrow slightly skeptically and says, well, I think maybe this is not the best place for me to be right now. I really don't want to cause any more damage, so I'm just going to take a step outside. It was nice to meet you, though.
You may stay here anytime you wish. I have worked hard to cultivate a calm amongst the storm of the city. I have not quite eliminated all sound, but it's on my to-do list. Should you find the need for a calm space, you're welcome here.
And with a bright red face, she just nods and scurries it back out the door.
So, one longbow?
Tell me, you said they are made from specific trees. What do you have from which trees?
Name a tree, and I've probably got one here somewhere. Are there any particular trees that have spoken to you in the past? And I should say, I don't mean
Not literally.
individual trees. I was thinking more types of trees that have spoken to you. Anything that is
It can
particularly... oh, certainly. But are there any that you feel most affinity with?
We travel through the countryside quite a lot, and I've always had a fondness for
Birch? An excellent choice. Yes, I have some bows from birchwood here. A red birch, a silver birch.
Silver's always been my favorite. I couldn't.
And a smile sort of breaks out over Almus's face. You know, I should have seen that coming, really. And they reach up and take a a nice pale bow that glistens slightly as the light catches it. This one currently does not have a name, as its deeds are yet to begin. Perhaps a name is in its future, though.
I should think so. I had a bow that had a name, but sadly it was lost. So I think it's a good time to start a new time. Now, if I may be frank with you, I do not currently possess the 60 gold, but could I put a down payment down? Perhaps when I gather a little money, I could come and collect it. I very much feel a connection with this bow, so I would like to at least reserve it.
What are you using now?
This old thing, and I kind of pull off the bow that's on my back.
How much?
It does the job, but it's not of elven craft, or it just is a little short for my stature.
How much would you be able to offer today?
I have 24 gold exactly.
Okay, so let's say...
And I would most certainly be willing to throw this in to, so if you just let me know how much more I would need on top, then I will know what to bring back.
Another 24 would be sufficient.
Then, if you are willing to accept this, and I hand her over a pouch, yes, as soon as I get it, we're working pretty heavily, so my hope is it will not be long. I will bring the rest to you.
You can take this today. That's fine.
Are you sure?
Yes. I believe that you will be back.
Most certainly.
Then I have no reason to doubt you.
You have my gratitude. To be honest, I'm longing to run out of town and give it a test.
I'm sure opportunities will find themselves soon enough.
You're probably right there.
Unless I'm mistaken, you've been getting yourself into some trouble already.
You are not mistaken at all.
Word travels quickly here. There aren't many moon elves traveling with dwarves in town.
No, it's an unusual combination.
That combined with the large silver chap out the front. Your reputation precedes you, it turns out. So, I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Why, thank you.
Make a note, and I trust that you'll visit me again. Hopefully
as soon
with
as it...
deeds for the bow.
Yes. As soon as that money enters my possession, I will be back here. And I thank you for your hospitality. This is a lovely place.
You're
I may
most
come
welcome.
back just to browse and enjoy the peace.
Anytime. I have been able to secure the assistance of a wizard friend who put enchantments on the displays here, such that even if I am not here, I can leave the door unlocked, so you may come anytime, day or night,
Oh, thank you.
whether I'm here or not, and you can escape.
Eska just sort of bows her head deeply and doesn't really know how to express the gratitude. I guess she just sort of backs out and says, "Thank you again, and I will see you as soon as I can."
And they nod and just gently glide back to pull out some unfinished arrows and start fishing through the various tools around their waist for the right thing. So, you can go ahead and add the longbow and deduct the shortbow.
Thank you very much.
I will just give you a little functional information on the items.
Okay.
I won't necessarily give you all of the information, but I'll give you some.
On
so you know,
the
on
the
the
other
bows.
two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the bow of Elanthe is a +1 longbow. Its physical description is probably known to a lot of elves in the area. It is a bow of reputation because of its involvement in the defeat of a very prominent demon. It does indeed faintly glow in the presence of demons, specifically, not fiends, but demons. And when attuned, if they couldn't already, the bearer can speak Sylvan.
Nice.
The other one is a +2 bow. It is dedicated to one of the elven gods. On a crit, it deals additional damage on top of regular crit damage.
Well, that's it. I'm gonna have to, at some point, murder Bar during his sleep. Otherwise, it's gonna be a fight on our hands.
You just walk out. They just
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, they're closed. Closed permanently.
And then like 15 minutes. Yeah, it's closed. Really strange.
But I do wander out, and I guess everybody would. It's going to be pretty noticeable, I think.
Yeah, I mean that bow's
the change in.
Close to 6 feet in length.
Yeah.
Very exquisitely crafted.
Just like Eska.
could before Iska comes out, could he just send Kedox into the air? And we're in the Bellark quarter, right?
So
Based off of notes from last game, I would say yes.
you're actually fairly close here to the city wall. There are a couple of large sort of houses with like sort of like an estate basically in this part of town that, as you sort of see them through Kedox's eyes, you would assume probably are associated with the satrap of this area. One branch of the family or other. You do see another what looks to be another small sort of outpost of the Nagra, disused. What you do see is guys who look to be in uniform that you would take to be sort of Bellark militia, essentially, who are effectively policing the area. There's a couple of taverns that look kind of shabby. Nothing that looks as nice as the Traveler's Respite up here. You see what looks like probably a smithy up there. There's a lot of stoneworkers up here. So you see sort of warehouses, enclosed areas for working stone, and you see a reasonable amount of cart traffic heading out to the main west gate of the city from this area as well.
Nothing of particular note, so Varus is just gonna hang quiet with his eyes kind of whited over, and they'll zip back in.
Do you have extra eyelids? I couldn't remember if
What do
lizards.
you mean, much like a...
I wasn't sure if lizards had the double eyelids or not, or if dragonborn. I guess you're dragonborn technically rather than lizard folk, so. But reptiles have
That's a
it
good
too
question.
sometimes, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, what is it? Is it crocodiles or alligators that have like the eyelids that go in all different directions?
Yeah, it's like... Yeah, it's to help them shield their eyes. I want to say it's alligators. In all my Dragonborn videos that I've viewed, they never went over the eyes.
I guess you can decide then. You can be the first to decide how many eyelids.
We'll make
Always
that canon.
have two if you can have two.
You have 2 eyelids.
Now,
That's
do you
now
want
official.
4 or do you just want the 2 that you normally?
I mean, only one eye can...
Stays open forever.
So far as it just winks at everybody.
Because you're already like so easy to blend in a crowd. That
You do also see what looks like it could be at least one small temple or shrine. Unclear as to who it's dedicated to, though.
As we're walking, Cassette would kind of, I didn't go in the store, but if she shared at all kind of what happened or the down payment, Cassette would offer the group gold or just remind Eska that we have a lot in group gold if you don't want to be,
I hate to say, I did think about that, but I hate to say this, but I think Eska would try not to mention it. I think it would be, yeah. I think it would be.
I wanted to more remind you than
Yeah,
maybe
I was
Eska.
thinking about it whilst I was in the store. I was thinking, would she go out and ask for group funds? And I was like, probably not. So I do thank you for the reminder, but Eska's being, well, I think it's more a case of not wanting to, I think, almost like a treat for herself, so she wouldn't feel good about using group funds for it, if that makes sense. That's her mindset. I know the group would maybe think more firepower good, but her mindset is this is for me, so But you won't notice her buying a lot of rounds. Not that she did buy a lot of rounds anyway, but she'll be buying even less rounds now.
Of alcohol?
Yeah,
So-
she's down to 1 silver, so she can do a sort of 1 round of really weak alcohol, and then she's done.
That's what the new coin purse we got was for. Oh, all I have is 10
Yeah.
gold. And you just dump it over and only 10 gold comes
Yep.
out. That's everything I got.
It could be useful, actually.
You guys empty your purse, and you're like...
Yeah. We need to have at least 1 copper in there at all times, just so we can empty that 1 out. Because it couldn't change denominations, right? It just hit what you put in. I know we tested this a lot. but it doesn't
I
make
forgot
change,
to bring
right?
that up. Well, I didn't go over the extent to which we went over that last time.
Yeah.
But I would say that you're still not probably 100% sure exactly what it is.
Should we spend the rest of the session testing it again?
Oh, please.
It's good.
Yeah. Oh dear. So Eska comes. Yeah, when Eska comes out, she looks happy and she has a bow, but she kind of keeps quiet. And well, I guess she says, "So where to next?"
And night fell as you decided.
Yeah, basically. I don't have any ideas right now.
Is there any more jobs we can take to put off having to go back down in the caves? Or are we pretty much done in town?
Are there any side quests?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm scrolling through my menu here and it's looking pretty bad.
Does anyone have like an exclamation point above their head near us?
Yeah, that is a good sign.
Just go to the jobs postings
Can we go gather ingredients in the countryside?
again.
Just pick some flowers or something?
More.
Exactly, yeah.
A crafting downtime episode.
Wow.
Captain Alescu might still be sleeping, but there was the one question that I had where Gerald said that he was under orders to go look down by the cave. But Captain Alescu said that they didn't really go down that way.
So it's sort of a confronting sort of situation?
I don't
Or
necessarily know, but just like, why would he be down there, basically? Because it said that he was supposed to be down there, but then he said, no, we're not supposed to go down there. But there's also, like, we maybe going back down there with the kobold, to see if they've figured out anything. Because, like, we haven't, I mean, I don't know what else to do as far as, like, figuring out our main quest.
I did have a one piece of information that before we leave town, I definitely wanted to. Are we leaving? Because this is about noon time, right?
Yes.
But no, I wanted to check out. It was mentioned in Fulruth, I think it is, that their inns, or they might have a place with records.
The Fulruth is sort of like the city hall, right in the center of Delsman. It's like a three-tiered building that has legal, like the courts. It has the main base of the Nagra. It also houses the equivalent of the city records. Yeah, which is I think what you were thinking about. So, did you decide what you wanted to do?
So Varus is just going to suggest to the group when Eska walks out, and
On our way back, perhaps we can stop at the Fulruth. I had been curious. Perhaps they have record of Dwarf. We seem to know so little of him. Could benefit us to know more.
So you walk back through vaguely the way you came, and take a slightly different turn to where you went earlier, and you end up unexpectedly stumbling upon this rather impressive white stone building, 3 stories tall, sort of a central tower that actually goes up a 4th story that serves as a sort of a lookout across the city, and then there's essentially like 2 wings to the building, not bird wings, like building wings. Just going to get ahead of that before you guys decide to start saying things unhelpfully. By far the most impressive and sort of imposing building you've seen in the city. Everything else has been a little ramshackle, run down, for the most part at least. The Drakewarden tower was fairly substantial. Didn't quite have this level of grandeur though. And there's sort of like a plaza that's sort of built around it. So as you're kind of walking through most of the streets, you can't really see it that well. Like every now and then you sort of see it peek out. But then, as you kind of get to the end of the street and into the plaza, it suddenly sort of like just appears in front of you. This uh, imposing structure. You see a lot of people milling around. There's a couple of people trying to shift some goods. Kids sort of acting as couriers, running in and out of the building in all different directions. You do see Nagra posted at what appears to be the front door to the building, which is sort of in the central tower. And yeah, you can you kind of see that in front of you. You walk in. There is a large sort of foyer, and the same white stone that was sort of like the walls were built out of. The floor is also that same white stone, now sort of muddied and worn, but you can see that it's there. And there's no sort of like desk or anything in here. There's just a large number of signs posted on the wall. To the left, signs for the jail, the Nagra headquarters, the courts, and then to the right, archives. It's like a courier station, essentially, like the records office. There's like one Nagra guard standing in this large foyer. It's like probably about like 50 foot across this foyer. So it's a really large space. And just people milling around a lot.
If nobody stands out as like I'm looking for like a help desk.
Yeah.
I'll just.
And it's a halfling in slightly shoddy armor, rather unusually straight, dark brown hair. Well, he just kind of looks around slightly shiftily. What?
I'm searching for information. There is an overabundance. Who can I talk to?
Probably records office, I think.
And he's gonna just nod at him and walk.
Guy goes back to sort of propping himself up on a spear. It's probably the most exciting thing that's happened to him all day. So you take a right, and there's a set of stairs in front of you that has another sign pointing up towards the records office and archives, and then one suggesting that on this floor is the courier station. Like, just looking down the corridor there, you see maybe a couple of dozen 10 to 15-year-old kids waiting around either for a new message or waiting for payment or waiting for an answer or something. They're just sort of milling around.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll head up to the
Okay. So second floor is the archives. There's another Nagra posted next to a large pair of brass-bound doors. A sign denoting that this is the archives in large letters is posted above the double doors. Doubling back behind you, you see that if you go back, you can get to the next set of stairs that leads up.
Is there signage?
Yeah, that's the records office. It'll be up on the third floor. So you head up. Doors, as were found in the archives, though these doors are open. Again, large. What's that font like? Copper plate, like like the sort of classic engraving text on the walls, letting you know you're in the records office. Through the doors, you can see there's a large chamber that's split in half with a wall. There's a number of benches in there, in the side that you can walk to, and then the wall has a number of openings, and there's a number of clerks behind those openings working away.
Okay, and they're just approachable, like desks.
Yeah, I mean they're sort of behind like it's sort of windows in a wall essentially. But they're sort of like sat at desks. Yeah,
I'll head to the closest.
it's a very elderly looking halfling, female, grey almost to white, curly hair that's pulled back into a bun, but you can still see the curls from there's various different strands that have got away. Hello, dear.
Hail.
Take a seat. I'll be with you in a moment. Kind of turns back to the paperwork in front of her. Reaches over for a hefty tome that you think that book is probably about 4 inches thick. Lands it down with a large thud on the table. Starts flipping through it.
Varus is just standing there.
Mildred? Coffee? Right. Nearly time for my coffee break, dear, but I can start with you. What can I do for you today?
I am searching for information about a particular individual, a self-proclaimed expert.
Yeah, if he lived up to his claims, we probably have a record.
And if I needed such information, can it be acquired in a hasty fashion?
It rather depends on the level of information needed. For a full account of his works and deeds from birth to death, that usually takes several weeks. However, if you are looking for confirmation of name, occupation, and last reported address, we might be able to get that back to you today. What is the name of the individual? Make an intelligence check. Your intelligence roll allows you to figure out the correct spelling, or at least what you think is the correct spelling of Duarte, which is Duarti. Do you know anything of his physical description? Just to differentiate from other Duartes, should we come across one in our record?
He, if I recall, was a wood elf. And very lithe upon my to him.
You've just described almost every wood elf.
And he had a snake he was particularly.
That might help. What time is it now? It's nearly time for my coffee break. So, let's say if you can make it back here by late afternoon, we might have something for you. If not, you can leave the standard fee, and we can send this information over by courier to a place of your designation. Yes, it's 2 copper anywhere in town.
Send this to Kelly.
If we don't have something today, it'll be early tomorrow morning for you. Have a good day. Okay, Mildred, I'm taking my 10. Sort of waddles off, leaving you just sort of sitting at her desk.
Kind of just like looks left and looks right and just.
Was everyone else hanging out in the plaza area?
I meant to say that Eska probably whispered to one of the others that she was going to head outside of town just temporarily to test out her bow and to let her know if anything interesting happened, but if not, that's where she'll be and she'll come back in within an hour or two.
I would have gone to see if Ilesky was still around.
Claire would have followed Silverius, but he stomped off so fast. And she didn't want to go into the big building by herself and not be able to find him, so she did sit down outside in the plaza.
Yeah, I'd be out there.
So you two have a good 15 minutes or so before Silverius emerges. You're sort of sitting there chilling.
Seems to be like the, I don't know, business district kind of thing. Is that just from what you described?
So, I mean, from what you've seen, it's almost like Delzimer is several cities smushed together, as each of the regions that sort of run by the satraps is almost kind of seems self-governing. You know, each area has its own militia that are essentially policing it. There's like little hub areas within each of those parts of town. This definitely seems to be, firstly, neutral ground. You don't really see any significant presence of any of the major families here. You do see, obviously, the Nagra around. As such, there are a number of small businesses that have sort of popped up near here, seeking to gain the benefit of neutral ground, essentially. Classic, you know, butchers, bakers, even a candlestick maker. But they are smaller establishments than some of the ones you've seen elsewhere.
Yeah, so, I mean, I guess unless something catches their interest, I would just be sitting out there chatting and kind of people watching, maybe. Just getting a feeling what kind of place this is.
Yeah, just hanging out waiting for Silverius to reappear.
In that case, Bardur, as you head back down into South Delzimer and make it to the Nagra guardhouse there, you're allowed to enter. And you hear sort of a yawn and a yeah, go on. All right, Bardur. What can I do you for?
Well, we had just spoke to Gerald, and
Aye.
he's slowly recovering.
Good.
Hopefully he'll be of service to you again one day.
Aye.
He had made one note, and I wanted to see. Didn't seem to make a lot of sense based on something you had mentioned to us, but I wanted to see if I could corroborate what he said, because he had mentioned being down by the caves was an assignment that he had gotten. Was that an assignment from you?
No. Wasn't from me.
Do you know who it was from?
Aye. I know who it was from.
So Gerald wasn't sent there by you.
No.
But who was he sent there by?
Can't give that out, I'm afraid.
Might I ask why?
Complicated.
Is there anything you can tell me in this situation?
Not good. Aye.
But you're not going to.
Make an intimidation check.
Okay. 12.
Alright, look. Keep this between us, okay? I need your word, Bardur. None of this goes beyond this door, okay?
Alright.
What I told you was true. We don't go down there. We stick within the walls, as you know. Or at least within what the walls can see, although that's vague. Unfortunately, as you know, Gerald was a new recruit. Young lad. I believe the term is hazing. Well, something like that. Basically, some of the lads thought it would be funny to send him down there looking for mushrooms or something. And, well, you've seen what happened. I can assure you that those responsible have been dealt with, though I'll not give you their names.
Well, that's for you to determine how you deal with your own men.
We will be taking care of the lad and his family till he comes back.
That answers my question. Didn't seem to add up, but I appreciate your honesty in the situation. And you have my word, I won't tell anybody else.
Blot on my record. I don't like it. You'll understand why I'm not keen for word to spread.
Does anyone in the town know about some of the stuff that's down there? Because obviously something got that boy. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it doesn't sound good.
Aye, I mean, we know there's some sort of tentacled creature, slithery, wibbly. It was kind of odd. He was speaking gibberish when he came back. So, we don't know for sure what's down there, but I guess we'll figure it out. Maybe.
Do you have any plans about it, or just leave it down there to its own devices?
Hoping it stays down there, to be honest. While it's down there, it's not doing me any harm. I got enough on my hands trying to keep everything in order here.
I understand that. I did much for sure, but we might have more business down in those caves, so whether we want to or not, we might have to deal with this.
I'll take a load off my mind.
Well, if we find anything, I'll let you know.
Grand. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great day.
Alright, you too. And as you start to head out, you see him sort of get down to a little nap on his desk again.
Okay. I'll go back to where everybody else was at.
Realistically, it probably... Let's see. Oh no, from there it's probably only a 5-10 minute walk from the Fulruth to the guardhouse. By the time you're done, you're probably back just as Silveris is coming out. Actually, 4 of you minus, no Eska currently. It's about sort of midday-ish.
So, Barnor, do you share what you...
The boy went down there, and he said it was official, but apparently whatever that thing did to him must have messed him up, because Lesku never sent him down there. He didn't know, and he said they didn't really have any plans on doing anything. As long as it stayed in the cave, they were fine with it. He's got enough stuff to deal with around here, but I did tell him we might have to end up dealing with it ourselves at some point. I'd let him know what happens with that.
And Silveris?
To whom I spoke, they are sending word back to Kelly, perhaps this evening or tomorrow morning. Mayhaps we will know a bit more.
Okay, that's good. That's actually quick for a records office.
Gotta find a food cart.
Yeah, there are like food trucks sitting around in the plaza, waiting for those people to, take their lunch breaks.
We could have been scoping those out
That
while
is
they were...
true.
That's true. You guys almost certainly would have been.
Eska will, if they don't do anything, she will return. She's not going to spend all day. She was just eager to get a feel for it.
Go ahead and roll 3 attacks.
First attack, 18. Second attack, 25. Third attack, 26.
You spend a good hour or so just loosing arrows.
Each one splitting the last one.
No, because you have a limited supply, and so you're careful to aim.
Yeah, that's true.
But you get a good feel with the bow quickly, and you keep backing up like another 10 feet, another 10 feet, and eventually you get to about 300 feet from the target tree. Go ahead, roll 1 with disadvantage.
13.
Even from that range, you still hit the tree. It's so the ones that were closer, basically anything under 150 feet, you have like this nice little cluster. They're all within about a foot of each other. As you get further out, it does get a little less clustered, but you're still hitting the tree pretty much every time. There's one that just sort of scrapes it, and you have to.
Go looking.
You go looking for it and eventually find one. But
Find
Yep.
it in a dead halfling.
yeah.
Oh dear.
Whoops.
But yeah. Otherwise, very successful first outing with the bow. You get very good vibes about it.
Eska's pretty much the happiest she's been since she's arrived in town.
And for those that remain in the plaza, as you look around the vendors, you see the following.
Oh gosh.
The Thirsty Gypsy, which appears to just be selling beverages of all sorts. There are 2 carts, so there's like a little area where the plaza narrows. There's 2 carts set opposite each other. One listed as the Broken Arrow, the other one listed as the Cursed Arrow. A brief glance at their menu show exactly the same. The Cursed Arrow selling for... Basically, they're undercutting by like the tiniest fraction on every single item. And you actually notice that the owner of the other one goes out and like tries to lower their prices on something, and then the other guy immediately comes out and lowers it again. So like there's this weird price competition going on over there. There's one selling more exotic meats called Hydra and Badger, and then my personal favorite selling what appears to be some sort of lamb product wrapped in some sort of doughy thing that's called Heroes and Villains.
Okay, but should we actually all start a side business with a food truck called that?
I mean,
Like-
it would probably do pretty well.
It probably would.
Honestly,
What
it's
was
not
the
too
first
late
one?
to rename the whole.
Gang.
Oh well, I was thinking the whole podcast in general, just rename
Oh,
it to Heroes
yeah.
and Villains.
Phil, what was the first one again?
The
Gosh.
Thirsty Gypsy.
The Thirsty Gypsy. I was hoping you were going to say it was called the Thirsty Gypsy, and it's just a gypsy that looks thirsty with like a cup outstretched. I was really hoping
I'm
that's
like,
what that was going to
by
be.
thirsty, do you
I
mean
was-
today's thirsty?
Yeah, my brain went to like 2020 definition of
Just
thirsty.
eyeing all the sexy men walk.
I mean, it may serve multiple purposes.
Like when someone says, you know, what a tall drink of water, she's like,
Gosh.
Wow.
I think we're going to have to cancel the podcast.
But yeah, if you're planning on eating, just deduct a silver from your stash.
First of all, I'm not eating. I would be bankrupt.
I shall eat.
Eventually, Eska joins up with you, looking triumphant. It's just after lunch now.
So what's the plan?
I am unsure.
Do we have time to go talk to the kobolds? I know that was something we talked about.
Well, I am in a great deal of interest in knowing I could use another day. That, and I am waiting for some information.
Claire is slurping from her thirsty gypsy commemorative twisty straw.
Is it one that changes colors and stuff?
Oh, definitely.
Or, yeah.
Gotta be.
So it sounds like we might just be resting for the rest of the day.
So, head back over to the Traveler's Respite for the evening. Unless anybody wants to do anything else, you can just kind of relax for the evening.
if nobody has anything else to do towards when the sun is starting to set, he would probably approach Bardur and Cosette. There would be probably a like a passing glance kind of at Claire, but he probably wouldn't say much to Eska, and mainly because she doesn't do a whole lot of sword fighting. But he would approach them at some point and inquire. He'd catch them at like some point they were together and just,
Before the day comes to an end, I prefer to not leave a day untrained. If you would, join me outside for a brief session to keep one's self sharp.
What do you have in mind?
Mostly just drill.
Yeah. Sounds interesting.
Are we allowed to?
You don't know if anyone would have an issue with that?
Would I know anything about that though?
Give me a good old-fashioned history again. It's your favorite thing.
I mean, in real life. 17.
As long as you keep it friendly and don't make too much noise, you think you're probably going to be okay. There are sort of quieter areas. You feel like you've probably got enough good standing with the Nagra that you're not going to cause too many issues. You got that stand of trees just sort of south of the tavern in
Yeah.
place. You could easily go there.
Eska might watch.
Yeah, Claire's still gonna tag along.
Where did Eska go?
She's up a tree. She's up her normal sleeping tree. Just watching.
All right, let's have each of you 3 roll initiative, please.
Mine is 11.
I have a question. Is from kind of observing this interaction, is Silverius kind of offering this like a service? Like he's going to show them how to, is he kind of acting the sort of slightly big soldier type and being like, hey, look, I'll show you how you can fight better?
Make an insight.
It's going to be 23. Oof.
Silverius, does that sound about right?
With I'm trying to think with a 23. Yeah, he's
Is he feeling like he's going to show them some stuff, or is he genuinely just like taking this as like
you read it as he tried to sound like that, but there was a bit of kind of respect. Yeah, you would garner that he actually he wants to do this from an educational almost type thing, even though he's trying to be like big and in charge, but he's seen them perform well, quite well, and he's also going to try to adapt maybe some strategies, but at the same time he thinks he has lots to.
Okay.
But you would have picked up on the like
That he also
maybe like a
there's
little bit.
some. I see.
So, for the purposes of this, I'm going to assume that everyone is going to be going non-lethal. Quite an assumption, I know.
Big assumption, yeah.
To that end, I mean, this is between you guys, but I would assume probably not just like blasting off magic too, but that's really up to you guys. So, Cassette, Silverius lays down a marker and sort of encourages you guys to spar. Exactly how you choose to interpret that is up to you. You get to go first.
She would not draw a flail, which is kind of her standard weapon. She would raise her shield, probably just like practice, like maybe defensively. So maybe she just says, "Okay, Silverius, give me your best shot."
Okay. Are you taking the dodge action, or are you just?
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess mechanically that would probably.
That kind of essentially fits. Okay. Bardur.
So am I do I know what's happening though? Like, do I know this is actually a spar? Because like, I wasn't like out of character. I wasn't necessarily sure about that. Yes. But
so I'll tell you what's happened here. This is the DM choosing to interpret it as that because I thought it would be fun.
That's fine. But do I, as the character Bardur, know what's happening?
Since I've decided that, yes. We'll
Okay.
assume that everybody's on the same page. That this is sort of like, we'll say that there was like a little sort of coaching session essentially, and then it sort of devolved into just sparring.
All right. With that being
Or
said,
evolved into sparring. I suppose I shouldn't judge too
Okay.
much.
Is this where you go invisible?
I cast blur on myself.
I don't think I was fully clear. Before Silvarius had like finished inviting, he did throw an invite to Claire if she felt like she wanted to, because she started hitting stuff with hammers last time. So.
And you too. I want to see
Just-
if you even know how to use that.
And he motions towards.
When he points at her, she like looks over both shoulders, like, "Who are you talking to?" And then points at herself. Me?
There's no one else there.
I mean, I could give it a whirl.
And this little pseudo dragon lands behind you when you're not looking.
She definitely jumps.
Let's have initiative rolls for Claire and Kedox, please. Oh,
Nat 20 on something that doesn't matter.
I don't know. Earning Silvarius's respect may be a big deal.
so Claire, over to you.
Well, hearing the very loud screech behind her, yeah, I guess she'll whip out her hammer and take a non-lethal whack at Kedox for startling her.
Nice. Poor Kedox, he never saw it coming.
It was only a 12 to hit.
You're still a little startled, and you just narrowly miss him. But a little cloud of dust appears next to him.
Looking relieved that it was actually just Kedox, she'll poke her tongue out at him and then jog over in between Cassette and Bardor.
Kedox is up.
Receives a little message in his mind, and he's gonna just skitter up the Traveler's Respite.
Cassette.
Okay, so maybe she'll grab a javelin, but kind of use it as like not like a stabbing motion, but more of like a swinging.
Like slashing almost.
So yeah, but not like with the point. Just kind of like trying to like tag somebody. So she'll just kind of whack him on the shoulder.
14. Anything else?
No, she just kind of looks at him like, "What's taking you so long?"
I'm gonna draw my falcata, and I'm gonna like use like flat edge. It seems like everybody's ganging up on Silvarius.
To be a certain amount of that.
He didn't set aside the rules. He just said he wanted to bar. He didn't say it
And
would be a fair.
And he did draw a line right in front of himself.
Yeah.
So
So like when Cossette moved forward and slashed at him, he like kind of started to grin.
22.
That's some good damage.
I now have 2 attacks, so.
So
guess
prepare
I'm
to
gonna
die.
Well, I guess I'm gonna do that again. So. 24 with 5 damage.
The first one lands, and he just kind of like,
Very good.
and then as the second one comes in, he waves his hand up, and this energy force field appears, and just like reflects your blade off as it's mid.
Silvarius.
So, 3 against.
Then he is going to take an attack action towards Cossette.
Yeah, that hits because I did not. I attacked instead of dodging.
And I'm going to action surge and attack Bardur.
Okay. That will be a disadvantage because I'm blurred.
Yeah, you look over and you see Bardor is shimmering.
Ow.
Oh.
Great Marduk, guide your strike.
There you are.
And you slap him anyway.
Um,
Minimum damage on both.
Yeah, he's just playing with him, not,
oh, you didn't say we could use magic. That's a bit cheating, isn't it? And she'll go ahead and cast Shield of Faith on herself. So yeah, but just as a bonus action, she'll step forward and take another two-handed swing at Silverius this time
That's nice. It's a nice spell.
for a 23.
He's not very concerned, and he gets caught off.
4 bludgeoning sneaks through as this warhammer just comes and cracks you on the chest. Eska, the sound is very pleasing to your ears. It's just a good, hearty, like, crack of metal on metal. Anything for Kedox this round?
He is going to fly on down and start screeching behind Bardur to kind of try to distract him.
Cassette.
Well, she took a hit, even though she was kind of trying to prepare for one. So she'll do the javelin again.
That one definitely.
25, yeah.
Like-
9.
It's a hefty smack there.
A palpable hit. Quick thwack on the thigh.
And she just smiles and does an attack again, and then kind of slides over to have him get kind of to.
Bardur.
Take my 2 attack. 26 with 8 damage.
Ooh, before I can even react, yeah, that
Also, why are we all rolling great against, our party instead of the actual enemies we ever fight?
So inspired to hurt him.
This is what we could do.
This is everybody taking out their frustration on him.
It's the extra motivation.
25 with 12 damage.
well, that was there's no evading that.
So, as after Cassette gives him a thorough whack in the leg, Severus turns around and just receives 2 massive slaps from the Falcata onto the chest with a slight grimace, drops to a knee, and then slumps to the ground. Alive, but battered. I'm not sure which is more battered, really. His body or his ego.
So I'll, lean over top of him. Is he laying on his back?
Nothing quite so elegant. He sort of collapsed awkwardly, such that his head and right shoulder have sort of hit the ground. His right leg sort of fell underneath him, but his left leg is still sort of vaguely where it was when he started falling. It's very inelegant.
He's sleeping like a cat, I see.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Cassette will put the javelin away and reach. He's conscious or unconscious?
He appears to be unconscious, but alive.
Okay. Well, she'll reach down and try to pull him up, I guess, with one arm. And she will lay on hands at the same.
Okay. Give me an athletics roll.
Ooh, my 20 got canceled out, but 15's.
Yeah, that's plenty. Yep. You reach down and sort of grab him under the armpits and give him a hearty tug up as you channel the healing energy into him. And the process is made easier as he sort of starts putting some of his own effort into it by the time you get him all the way back upright.
As he's coming back to, though, he's kind of shaking his head. And you see this kind of realization in his eyes, and he pushes himself off of Cossette. And he's just like,
What are you doing?
and he kind of stumbles back.
Did not intend for this to be 3 against 1.
You said you didn't want to go a day without getting some practice in.
I did not mean just for.
Oh, don't be sore, Silvarius, just because you lost. And Claire, like, swings her hammer, so she's, like, holding it across both her shoulders.
Yeah, Cassette has the biggest smile.
And I just sheathe my sword, and then I pull out my pipe and blow a smoke dragon.
Sylvarius is kind of breathing and looking around, and
Well, then we are done here.
he sheaths his sword and he starts walking off trees. Obvious to, I would say, all.
He's not angry at you guys, he's just disappointed.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, he's momless. Dang.
He's throwing around that dad guilt.
And he sort of hobbles away. His left leg looking a little bit worse for wear after Cassette gave it a good old thwack earlier. It's about this point that, Eska, you do see one of the guards kind of peering over in this general direction. He can't see you, because, you're hiding in a tree.
Does he look concerned?
He looks a little concerned. It was a bit of a racket.
I shoot him.
With my brand new bow.
I can't let him get a message back. I keep an eye on him, see if he does anything.
Since the noise seems to have stopped, he pauses for a moment and then walks on.
I guess to him it probably looked like a citizen was savagely beaten by a group of attackers and hobbled away.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how it would look to anyone who didn't know what was happening.
I was like, I mean, Cassette did help him up. So it is kind of strange that we would beat him up and then help him up.
That's true.
So, do we steal Sylvarius, or is he gone? Or is he walked off to the point of like he gone?
He is actually going to walk to. He keeps walking towards, kind of straight that direction. Like he might be heading towards the Shrine of Morden.
We should probably go get him.
Aye.
I suppose you're right. Though the big brute does deserve it. He needs to be taken down just a peg or two.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say I enjoyed
I mean, you just kind of hear me mutter. It's like, what do you say? What the rules were?
He did also smile. Didn't he also smile at the more people that attacked him?
Exactly. He's just being a sore loser.
Yeah, if he'd beaten all of you guys up, I'm pretty sure he'd have said that was the intention the whole time.
Oh, okay. If we're gonna follow him, I guess I'll ask. You come in, Eska.
I don't know if a crowd is a good idea. I feel like he's a little vulnerable right now. I don't know if he might feel like it's somewhat too much.
I kind of agree with you, but we can't let somebody in the party walk away.
No, I just mean I don't know that it's a full. We've had our disagreements in the past. I don't want him to feel like I'm coming to gloat over him.
Oh, I see.
I'm beginning to get a little understanding of him, and I feel like there's a little more of a. He is not just a hard shell. I'm beginning to realize that now. There is something under there. I don't blame you for that. You're just doing what he asked you to, but I don't know what's going on in his mind. But he's not all brash and domineering. But I guess you may have to treat him a little with kid gloves, because I feel like his natural reaction is to bite back when his ego is bruised.
Ah, no. I've got 7 older brothers. I mean, sometimes a bit of gentle teasing is really the best thing for it.
Oh, you could give it a shot.
Nothing too harsh, mind you, but Sometimes if they know that the teasing is coming from a place of love, it does better than coddling them.
That might be fair.
He doesn't seem like the type to have lost too many fights, even if it was just sparring, so he's probably just not used to being on the losing end.
Maybe I can go talk to him. So I'm just gonna follow him or just walk that way, try to catch up with him.
Claire looking a little happier than she has in a little while, jogs after to try to catch up with Silvarius.
So Varus, do you make any effort to sort of like hurry away, or do you just sort of like because you will definitely hear Claire coming?
Yeah, there's quite a loud honking noise.
If he hurries away, will he just be going his normal speed?
That's true.
Yeah, fair point.
Is just out of curiosity, is it just Claire coming with?
Oh no, I'm
Eska's-
going too. Yeah.
Eska's
Okay.
gonna hang back.
So are both Cosette and Claire making a lot of noise?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, she's just following. She's not trying to sneak or anything like that.
Even when we do try to sneak, it's pretty useless.
That's true.
So,
Yeah.
That's fine. And then I just wave my hand and I'm like, y'all give me a headache, and I cast Pass Without a Trace on him.
So Varus, as you kind of like trudge towards the shrine, you hear familiar clanging coming towards you, and then it mysteriously softens. And you glance back and you see Bador, Cassette, and Claire coming towards you. Based on how fast you're going, how fast they're going, you reckon if you just kept going, they'd probably catch up to you by the time you got to the shrine.
He's gonna, after he glances back, he sees them kind of coming. He slows his march and just turns around and stares at him. Unpleasantness to his face. Pretty typical of him.
I guess I'll kind of like step forward a little bit, because I said I would talk to him, but kind of regretting that I actually opened up my mouth like that. And said, "Where you headed, big guy?"
Heading to the Shrine of Morden.
Well, you're headed there in an awful hurry.
I have my reasons. Why did you follow me?
Just wanted to talk, see if you're all right.
I'm fine.
Maybe you should tell your face that you're fine.
I'm fine.
Claire just kind of chuckles and starts to walk past him, heading towards the shrine. And as she does, she reaches her hand out and pats him on the arm and casts Cure Wounds on him. It was just a bit of fun, Silvarius. Don't pout about it. We'll do it again when you're feeling more yourself. And then she just keeps walking off towards the shrine.
Right when she chuckled, he starts to speak,
You will not.
and then when she heals him, he just kind of like stops a little.
Well, I'm gonna say, Cosette, can you go on with Claire? I would like to talk to Silvarius real quick.
Sure.
So I'll just wait until they get a little bit out of earshot. So I'll just ask, have you ever got your butt whipped before?
There's kind of a long pause. He sort of like looks, he's like staring at you, but his eyes kind of like look up sort of a little bit to the sky for a second, and he looks back down at you, and
There has been a time when I failed.
I big sigh, and I look down and I go, yeah, me too. All we can do is learn from it and move on. Try not to let it eat us inside. I know, I say that to myself every day.
For how many years have you been fighting?
In one way or another all my life. But from what you're speaking of, about 50.
The gift of dwarven age. If one could be blessed with so. I have not seen as many years, but I have been fighting for the majority of my life. And I have been successful for nearly all of it. To fail, or to be bested.
And he kind of looks down, and he's sort of like looking sideways, and he sideways looks back at you.
My familiar, the name Kidox is not just any name. It is the name of the shard who trained me. And the last time I was bested, he fell. There has been no greater loss for me. But it is in the service to our greater causes that this happened. To live a life full of fighting, one cannot expect not to lose. I find myself further surprised each day. I have just much thinking to do.
I understand that. Those losses never get easier.
No, they do not. But they are what fuels us to rise above and to become more.
I think you're right.
Now, I need my time.
And he nods towards you.
I'm gonna nod back. I'm gonna turn around and head back towards the tavern.
I'll turn and start marching towards the shrine.
Claire and Cassette, you arrived at the shrine and just sort of saw Bardor and Silveris having this very serious conversation. Can't tell exactly what's being said, obviously, but you kind of see the back and forth. And as you're sort of standing there, the door opens behind you, and a scruffy 10, maybe 12-year-old girl in kind of shabby clothes sort of scurries out and disappears off in the general direction of the center of town. You see Silveris start slowly moving towards you as Bardor peels back towards Traveler's Respite.
As we're walking back, she'll just be like, boys and their egos.
Right? If I had a penny for every time I beat one of my brothers and they had a pout about it.
Yeah, I eventually got to the point where, I could give my older brother a beating, once I went through all my training and could finally at least compete with him. And he had similar reaction.
I guess he's just not used to disappointing himself. But it's just one of those things you have to get used to. I've been a disappointment since my mom found out she had me in her belly. So it's just part of life. Sometimes you fail.
Aw. Well,
The sad music up a little more.
I don't know how to respond to that.
She seems pretty okay with it.
And of all the things that have happened, this is the darkest.
This is the,
Fun fact.
This is the darkest timeline.
Fun fact, it's not too dark. Her mother may have already had 14 children before her. She was not expecting the 15th.
I like how that's the one that was like, oh, this is just too 13 and 14 were just, okay, you're part of the crew.
She ended up with a full rugby team, and that was just too much.
Well, we did help him fight for 3 days to, prove himself and get that sword. So I think we deserve to give it back.
I agree. He was a little bit rude about the rest of our abilities, so, But I do think we've been cruel enough at this point. So we should probably make the effort to be kind to him, at least for the rest of the night.
So, Silvaris, you trudge your way up there, and as you arrive, Kelly comes out and hands you a note that is sealed with the there's like a wax seal on the back. Delsma crest.
What came?
Aye. No one's eyes but you. That's what he said. So I only just arrived anyway. That wee slip of a girl delivered it and then ran off quicker. I mean, I barely had time to thank her.
And he kind of nods and he slides it into this little side.
Thank you, Kelly.
Oh, you look a little rough. You should get some rest.
It's on the agenda. May I use your cellar?
Of course. And he holds the door open for you. Claire Cassette, you just sort of standing there and letting him head in.
Oh, so they beat me there?
Yeah, they beat you there.
And when he rounds the corner, he sees them and he slows down a little bit, and he's shaking his head, and then he kind of walks up. Doesn't stop to say anything to them.
Claire looks like she's trying to not laugh. Her cheeks are kind of puffed up and rounded, like she's holding it in. But she doesn't bother him.
Like you have clearance to head down to the cellar.
Okay. I head down. Before he does, he's going to stop in the doorway and he's just going to look back, side look back and just...
I'll see you all later.
Well, that was a dismissal if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just starts heading back at a decently slow pace towards the inn.
Yeah, because I follows.
And we will pick up with Silverius down in the cellar next session. Well, there we go. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. I'd say poor old Silverius, but I feel like he kind of does this to himself sometimes. Anyway, we'll see how things recover in the next episode as Silverius licks his wounds and everyone else possibly gloats about what they did to him. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time for more fables from the Pickled Quipper. Goodbye.
It was like we're sitting there eating falafel, and the next thing you know, Silverius is like, I saw a man die.